Hello, this is Betsy Sproger. I blog at BJ's Homeschool, and I'm so happy to be here. And today I get to talk about high school, homeschooling high school, which is one of my favorite topics. If you haven't met me before, I'm a mom to one homeschool grad who's also now a college grad because she wanted to go on to study communications and leadership. Yes, and a little bit of poli-sci in college. Started homeschooling her when she was 4 years old, and it worked out so well, we just kept on with it, and I'm so glad we did. So today we're going to talk about high school, and this is basically just an introduction. If you're thinking about continuing on with homeschooling, you're a middle schooler and you're thinking about high school, then this is the workshop for you. I'm happy to be here. I'm also the author of a book called Homeschooling High School with College in Mind that is available on Amazon, and I also reference this on my blog, BJ's Homeschool. Thinking about homeschooling high school, I was one of those moms that, it's typical. It's like it feels overwhelming. How could I possibly teach my child algebra and all these other subjects that come to bear during the high school years? And I found out that there are so many ways to homeschool high school. There's so many resources out there now. There's online tutoring available. There's a whole lot of sites like Khan Academy where you can get a lot of help. Your student can get a lot of help without even having to purchase anything. Doing high school at home, you do not have to teach all of the academic subjects. There's, like I said, great resources and great curriculum out there. And I definitely made use of all of those because I don't remember my high school math or high school science. So what is a transcript? The transcript is just a record of the courses that your student has completed during high school. So that's usually the 9th grade through 12th. So it's a record of all the courses that are done. There's a place to list, the course, and next to that you've got the grade that you've assigned them or they've earned through community college or whatever, and the credit. And we'll talk more about the credits a little later in the workshop. So it's just a record of the courses that have been completed during high school. There's a place, it's a good idea to throw on the college testing scores if your student's going on to college. That there's a place for that on the transcript too. And that's not hard to do. And I do have more information on that, either on my blog or in my book. The GPA, the average grade point, average grade point, the GPA. There's also a place to have that too on your transcript. Basically, it's just a one-page document. Course descriptions is a separate thing, and we won't really be going into those today. But it's just a listing of the name of the course and those details. With your signature at the bottom, your name of your school at the top. If your teen is going to be applying to college, I recommend that you use a more formal name such as Smith Academy or the Johnson Academy or something like that, versus something more informal, talking about like learning activities and such, something like that. Because when the college receives the application, they see something a little more formal name, and they're just more comfortable with that. It's just another tip if your child is going on to college. And every homeschool transcript is an official transcript, so you can write that at the top, official transcript. There's lots of places online to see sample transcripts. Let me see if I can show you one now in my book. Here's one right here. Now, I apologize. You probably can't really see this very well. But I encourage you to just Google it, and there will be lots of sample transcripts for you to look at. And you can get it notarized if you want to, but it's not necessary. But it's an option. It's something that you can do. So more on transcripts is available on my blog for free as a freebie. If you just Google BJ's Homeschool, it'll bring up my blog, and then you'll see there's a picture of my freebie entitled Transcript Tips or something. I forget what I called it. And then you just click on that, and you're welcome to have there's a whole complete guide to transcripts, and it's available to you. So I encourage you to look at that if you want to, just dive in a little deeper at this time. So then let's go on to the next topic, which is, okay, so you've got these courses, but how do you assign credit for what your student has learned? Well, let's talk about homeschool high school credits. And this is another topic that actually now I find it really fun to talk about, because I found 3 easy ways to assign high school credit. And we'll talk about that in just a minute. Before we get there, what is a homeschool credit? To earn 1 credit, your student would have worked for a year in a subject. So they study math for a year, they study algebra 1 for a year, that's 1 credit in algebra 1. They study biology for a year, 1 credit in biology. So for high school, 1 year's work is 1 credit. It's a little different for community college, but I'll let that go for now. So then you have you have your child studying whatever the topic's going to be. You've got this course and you want to figure out how to assign it. There are 3 easy ways to assign high school credit. You don't have to keep track of every single little detail that your student does for that subject. So I listed the three different methods that I like to break it down that way. And the first one is the textbook method. So this is simple. You have a math textbook in, say, Algebra 1. If the student completes 75% of that textbook, then they have earned 1 credit in Algebra 1, as our example. Even in public school, the whole entire textbooks are often not completed. There's not enough time. So you don't have to feel pressured that you need to get your student through every single page in a textbook. If you have a course where you're using a textbook, 75% is considered a complete credit. So my next topic is the hours method. So you could either use the textbook method, 75% of the book equals a credit. Next, you could consider another way to figure this out is the hours method. And that's simple. You just keep track generally of how much time your student has spent on a subject. And 120 to 180 hours equals 1 high school credit in that particular subject. So let's say photography. My daughter and I had so much fun doing photography together. We started when she was 10. But then during the high school years, she still wanted to work on her photography. So I just had her keep track of basically every half hour that she worked on photography. And as long as she had between 120 to 180 hours completed, she earned 1 credit in photography. Um, another thing that we did was she was in a program where she was working on speech and debate, and she went to the meetings, practiced her speeches, gave some speeches in a competition, that sort of thing. And to give her credit in speech and debate, we just used the hours method, where we just had a made our own form. I have forms for that in my book, but we just made our own form, and then she would write the date, briefly what she did, speech and debate meeting, something simple like that, and add up all the half hours until she got to either a half credit or a full credit. And the average for that is 150. 150 hours equals a credit. Now, another way to do it is even simpler. It's called the mastery method. If your student has shown mastery in a subject, then you can give them credit in that subject. For example, my daughter was in a drama class at her co-op for a semester. And then afterwards, after all of their studies and everything in drama, they did a play. And participating in the play showed mastery of beginning drama skills at a high school level. So I could give her a half a credit in drama and put that on her transcript. I'm trying to think of another example. Basically, a homeschool high school credit is just a way to show the world what your student has done. Show the outside world what your student has completed. So all of these methods are approved by the HSLDA, the Homeschool Legal Defense Association. So they're all viable ways to assign credit, and you get to, you list the course that they've completed, like drama. You put in the grade that you assign them. Like I gave my daughter an A because she did well with her play and she attended all of the classes that she needed to go to at her co-op. And then you get to put in she had earned a half a credit, 1/2 credit, 0.5 credit, and then you've got that on your transcript. And then you just keep going with all the different courses your child does, and they're all going to fit there on the transcript. One of the things that I do offer in my book is that I do have forms for keeping track of these things. So there's a form for just recording the different courses that your student completes, so that you have that together, so that when it comes time to put together your transcript, say in junior year, just take it from off of your form. So you've got a way to record the details. Basically, high school at home is just like any other year, except for you have more record keeping, and more details to keep track of as you go. So that takes us through the discussion of credits. So let's move on to homeschool high school curriculum. Unless you're just starting out in high school as a homeschooler, you've already developed your own methods for choosing curriculum, for finding unit studies, for working things out through your own homeschool style, whatever style that you found works for your family. So when it comes to high school, it's the same process. It's just that you have a few more details in your planning than you would in the younger years. I use two resources for looking for high school curriculum. Um, and one of them that I like to recommend is called Let's Homeschool High School. And you were looking for that, you just would Google Let's Homeschool High School, and it would take you to their site. They have a nice list with links of faith-based and secular resources for high school. And that was a help for me when I was looking for high school curriculum. Another source is called the Curriculum Choice, and you may have heard of it. It's been around for quite a while. Tricia Hodges owns that site. She's a longtime homeschooler with 5 kids. And it's called The Curriculum Choice, and it's mostly faith-based curriculum. There's curriculum reviews there that are written by homeschoolers who've used the curriculum. I've got a few on there myself, and boy, that was a great resource for me when I was looking for some resources and so forth for my daughter. The next question, of course, is what do you need to study during high school? And this is actually, there's a couple things I want to cover on that. What you need to study during high school depends, of course, on your student. If your student is going to go on to college, then you need to be sure that they complete the college entrance requirements. College entrance requirements are those courses that the college requires to be admitted to that university. So it's just their requirements, and the college requirements are listed on their websites. So if you have a college-bound teen, then you want to look up at least 2 or 3 likely colleges that they may want to go to, and make a list of the requirements at each of the colleges, and then get an idea from that what's your best guess of the requirements for your student. And what we did was we looked at, I wanted my daughter to be able to commute to college, so we looked at schools right in our area. And the requirements that they listed on the sites were similar from one school to another, but they weren't exactly the same. So for the college-bound students, I highly recommend that you get a reference, either my book or another one that you find on Amazon or on the web that helps you with those details, because it's nice to have a step-by-step guide that tells you how do you find these requirements, where are they on the college websites and so forth. So I think for college, that's the major thing, is figuring out what are the college entrance requirements. If your student is not planning on to go to college, or if your student is planning to go to community college, then you have a much wider choice of courses to study in high school. And you're basically going to want to cover, usually for a traditional high school program, you want to cover the core courses of science and math, English, social studies, and foreign language, although foreign language is not required if you're going on to most community colleges. The best advice I can give on what to study, what type of courses to have your student complete, is that you do not have to complete the public school, high school graduation requirements. The typical requirements will be listed out for a public school student. But as a homeschool student, you do not have to complete what the public school students have to do. You get more leeway. There are only a few states that ask you to do those public school graduation requirements. Only a few. So it's like, I think it's 47 of our states in our beautiful America, beautiful U.S. leave it up to the parent to decide what to study. So if you have a special needs student, then you can focus on what they're going to need, what's going to help them after graduating high school. And that's what's beautiful about homeschooling, is you can tailor it so specifically to your student. If your student's going on to community college or going on to a vocational school, then basically doing the core requirements will be all you need to do. And most community colleges will just have you take a test at their college to get your student situated as to where they would start in community college. So it's basically up to the homeschool parent, or to do the traditional approach of the core subjects, which I listed: science, math, English, social studies, foreign language. It is less cumbersome than I'm making it sound. And we used a lot of our favorites for our high school curriculum. The stuff that we found in middle school that worked well, we just continued on with them in high school. And that worked out really well. Okay, let's go on to high school electives. High school electives can be so fun to do with your teen, or just enjoy them delving into a subject that they really enjoy. That's the high school electives. And as homeschoolers, we have more time for our students to do their electives, and we have a wide range of choices that can count as an elective. I have an article on my blog which lists 100 high school electives with links to the different activities and so forth. And high school electives, just, man, I can't tell you how much fun we had with those electives. My daughter wanted to learn how to do video making. So we borrowed a camera from a friend, got some information, had her find some information from the library and study up, and she made 4 videos for that course. And we had so much fun doing that. One of the videos she wanted to tape down at the beach, and so we went down to a local beach, and she had her friends there arranging, different parts for her video that she was putting together, and we had such a blast doing that. Here's a chance also in electives for your kids to do the activities that they enjoy, and those will count as electives too. My daughter was into dance when she was younger. She got into Irish dance during late elementary on through high school, and that led to a whole bunch of fun performances that we got to go to, and got to watch her do Irish competitions and all of that. And those were important for our daughter. That became one of her high school electives, was the Irish dance. Girl Scouts, that can turn into a high school elective. Bible quiz, one of my friends, her daughter competed in the Bible quiz, and then that could be listed as an elective too. So I just think that having the extra time for your student to really be able to, like, look through my list of 100 high school electives, just anybody else's list, look on the web to find the things that they want to really learn about, develop skill in, and have the time to do that during the high school years. For my daughter was priceless, and I think that's just a wonderful gift that you can give to your student by homeschooling them. I had so much fun after my daughter got into college. I had extra time. I'm a mom of an only, and we'd finished homeschooling. Whoa, after 14 years, and I decided that I wanted to put together the tips that were most important to me and the resources and so forth, put it together in an easy to read book for other homeschoolers coming after me. And so that's why I put together this book, which I already showed you, Homeschooling High School with College in Mind. I guess this is my chance to do my marketing, which I'm not very good at. But I've had over 1,000 families have already purchased this and have benefited from it. And my book goes through all the stuff that we talked about today, but in more detail and in a conversational way, but full of the information that will help you to do your high school at home. So I've got a listing of the chapters here. We've got 17 chapters here. I go through transcripts. I go through choosing curriculum. A lot of things on college are there too. How to write a winning college essay. How to do your course descriptions if your college requires that. A guide to the common application, which is something that it's just if you haven't heard of it before, it's just a application that hundreds and hundreds and maybe thousands of colleges are now using. And I have a guide to that, which is step by step, and to make it easier to deal with as a homeschooler. That's in the book too. So to give you an idea what the book looks like, here's chapter 3, which is called Researching and Getting Started. And if you can see that, I hope you can see that okay. Researching and Getting Started is about figuring out those requirements if your student is wanting to go on to college. I've got sections on your GPA, and it's not hard to do. It's step by step also. A whole long list of videos, of high school electives, as I mentioned. And then I share more specifically the ones that we did. How to prepare your student for college writing is in there too. At the back of the book, there are 12 of forms, printable, downloadable, printables, for you to just fill in as you go through the planning process for high school. So there's ones in case your student is heading to college. The rest of them are all just generic, either for any high school student. You've got a form to make your own overall high school plan, curriculum planning forms, places to write down different community service that your student has done. There's a PE form to keep track, just to keep track so that you have a way to give them credit for their PE. Official form for transcripts and so forth. And so this has been a guide to over 1,000 families already. Got such a, there, I think not quite so, oh, I think you can see it now. And I just encourage you to take a look at that and see if that will be helpful for you too. Well, thanks again for joining me for this workshop. I hope that it's been an encouragement to you as you consider homeschooling your teen. I was able to help, my husband and I were able to get our daughter accepted into each of the colleges that she applied to. with scholarship offers. College is so approachable now for homeschoolers. The colleges are getting used to us. In fact, they like our homeschool grads who already know how to manage their studies, often already are managing their homeschool studies on a daily basis with the parents supervising, by senior year. They're ready for future studies if that's the way that they're headed. And colleges are really getting used to homeschool applications and are often wanting them. So I hope that's an encouragement to you. Um, all the tips that I use to help get my daughter into college are in my book, and I'm happy to share. I'm also happy to talk to you through my Facebook Messenger. I'm happy to take questions there. I have a Facebook group called Homeschooling Through High School, where you ask questions, get support, share your successes. And again, it's my honor to be with you today and to be an encouragement to you in your homeschool journey with your precious children and teens. Thank you. Betsy Sproger signing off.